If you're thinking about hiring a VA to cold call for you, you're going to want to watch this video to the end. This video, I promise you, will save you thousands of dollars, months of time, and a lot of unnecessary headaches. Me personally, I currently have around 350 active VA cold callers right now, and I have made every single one of these mistakes. So if you're in real estate, whether you're a wholesaler, investor, flipper, or agent, you've probably thought, man, I'll just hire a VA to do the cold calling for me. Easy, right? Well, not quite. What most people don't see is what's behind the scenes: the bad hires, the wasted weeks interviewing, the endless handholding, and the huge cost of getting it wrong. So let's dive into the 5 biggest problems when hiring cold calling VAs yourself, and the better way to scale your motivated seller lead flow, all without the stress. Hands down, the biggest misconception that people fall for is they think that hiring a cold VA is this magical solution, like boom, one hire, and suddenly you are swimming in deals. But the truth is, hiring a VA isn't the end of the process. It's the beginning of a whole new system that you really need to build and manage. Scripts, tech stack, list, training, quality control, call reviews, objection handling, lead tagging. This is not plug and play. It's not a microwave solution. If you don't know what systems your VA needs to succeed, you think you can just put them in and they will perform. It's like dropping them in the ocean with no map and expecting them to find treasure. See, hiring a VA without understanding what success actually looks like will waste your time, burn your list, cost you leads that should have been deals. And that's the trap that most people make when they try to hire VAs themselves. I'll never forget one of the first campaigns I did myself. I was doing all the acquisitions, I was doing all the closings, and I found 2 rock stars callers. They had great English, they were hungry, and they had a really good head on their shoulders. And I just threw them into the phones. And I kid you not, I paused that campaign in 2 weeks. They were not getting results. I was wasting money. They were asking me a million questions. I thought I could just throw them in and they would be as good as me because I didn't give them the right systems. I didn't put them in a position to win. The next problem that people make is they don't understand that managing your VA team directly, it is another full-time job. Obviously, most people hire VAs because they want to buy their time back. They want to delegate. They want to build systems, but you don't realize that they are dependent on you. If you don't do it right, like I'm going to keep it real with you, managing a team of VAs yourself is one of the fastest ways to burn out as an investor. When I first started building my cold calling team, I thought I'll just train them once, give them a script, and we're good to go. This is what I got instead. Endless Slack messages asking the same questions over and over and over. Excuses every single week on why they weren't hitting their numbers. Bad data, system glitch, their internet was down, and I just found myself repeating the same things over and over and over again that they just couldn't retain. But the worst of all, some were abusing the dialer. And if you don't know what abusing the dialer is the way that a lot of VAs view us is, oh, these rich Americans. And if they don't have the proper accountability, the proper systems, they will just sit on the dialer, not make any calls. And if they're making calls, as soon as they pick up, someone will hang up and they will just collect that base salary over and over. You then start running through, why am I not getting leads? They're not even making the calls because you don't have the right management systems in place. And that's a full-time job right there. When I first started hiring my cold callers, I thought I'd just be able to focus on closing, but I wasn't running my business anymore. I was just babysitting. And look, they're not bad people. A lot of them are still on my team. I just didn't have the right systems in place at that time to put them in the best position to win, but to also buy back a lot of my time. That's when I realized managing VAs isn't just about hiring. It's about systems, performance reviews, scripts, training sessions, lead quality, CRM audits, having someone accountable to their actions. And unless you have that level of operations built up, you are going to be putting out fires nonstop, which takes time away from your highest leverage task, which is just closing deals, which is why now I don't let investors do this alone anymore. We built a solution. We ended up building a company to solve this. So if you were looking for VA cold calling, where we do the training, the management, the data, the dialer, all these problems that if you wanted to do it yourself, you would face, we take on for you, I highly suggest go to noaccentcallers.com, book a call. We solve the biggest problems that most wholesalers, investors, and flippers have. Whether you were trying to cold call yourself, whether you have tried and built your own VA cold calling system and it was just too much of a headache, we do everything for you pretty much at the highest degree. We take care of everything for you. The data, the dialer, the training, the management, the skills of the callers, to make sure that you have everything you need to constantly get motivated seller leads, all without the headache. This mistake right here, I have seen so many investors and wholesalers been plagued by it. It's hiring the wrong talent. Because the truth is, most talent looks great on paper until they get on the phone. Fake resumes, recycled scripts, even voice shamers. And one of the most common problems that you get is you end up hiring someone who sounds good in the interview, but as soon as they get on the phones, they freeze and they fumble the live calls, which just cause you to miss out on so many motivated sellers. But there's also another thing that people don't take into account: the difference between cold calling talent and customer support talent. Do any of you guys know what the differences are? If you don't, cold calling is a sales skill. Customer support is a people skill. The first hire I made was a customer support talent person. To be fair, they sounded great. They were super awesome. They were super receptive and very hungry to learn. But it was very evident that when I threw them on the phone, they've never dealt with rejection. They didn't have the real estate experience, and it just cost me a lot of time and money, and I fired them a month later because I just didn't know better. See, when you have cold calling talent, people who have been on the phones 4, 5, 6 months in the lower end, all the way up to 2 or 3 years, they've gone through the rejection. They know what's required. They know how to handle objections. Odds are they have real estate experience already. So that ramp up period of taking someone from zero to hero is not there, because if you take someone who's never done cold calling and they've only done customer support and you take them from zero to hero, I promise you it's going to take you 3 to 4 months just to get them to a baseline versus hiring someone who has cold calling experience already. If you do try to hire VAs yourself, one thing you need to notice: to get the right hire, the hiring process takes forever. Look, let's say you do find someone legit. It is not that quick. I'll show you what some of our numbers look like for how we make our hires. The big problem that most people make is that they'll just have 3 or 4 interviews. They'll find someone who they think is good and they're just gonna settle. But if you know anything about hiring great talent, is that is very similar to your customer or client acquisition. You're not just gonna get 4 leads and close someone. You're gonna get more and more and more leads, aka you need to have a lot of applicants. You need to have a lot of interviews just to get the right people. For example, like, in order for us to get 15 people, we know our ratios that for every 337 applicants that we get, which in our application process, we're getting a bunch of video interviews so that we could see mic quality, internet speed, all of that stuff. We then have one-on-one interviews with our sales team, and out of those 81, 15 will be chosen. If we do 15 over 337, that is a 4.4% acceptance rate. If you're only interviewing 4 people, how are you going to expect to make the right hire? It's just not enough volume. Just some ancillary things to look out for: bad accents, poor English, job hoppers, uncoachable, poor internet speed, bad mic quality, and honestly, too much experience sometimes, because when it comes down to training and managing them, they're going to think they know better than you. They're not going to be coachable, and it's just going to be a big pain in the butt. Another thing that you need to take into account is actually what the interview process looks like. Imagine you are having a bunch of leads and you have a bunch of deals that are about to get into contract or about to get across the finish line. And you say, oh, I'm going to stop focusing on these deals. I'm going to go hire 15 or interview 15, 25 VAs. They're going to no-show. They're going to have thick accents. They're going to just waste your time. And then when your deals fall through, you're going to be like, holy fuck, I've got to start from zero. Look, this process is a grind. To get great talent doesn't happen in 3 or 4 hires. Are there anomalies? Of course. But it is a process. It is a system. And that is essentially what our company, No Accent Callers, is absolutely dialed in, so that you don't have to deal with any of that headache. And you can just focus on closing deals and getting a lot of motivated seller leads. Because I'm going to reiterate again, getting leads through VA cold callers, it's not rocket science. It's very simple. It is data, dialer, training, and management of the callers. I always tell my clients, the end result I get for you is leads, but my business is how good is my hiring funnel? How good is my training system? And that's essentially what we have dialed in. I can go recruit the best talents in the world. Like I showed you guys, I get around 400 to 500 organic applicants per day, and I'm able to cherry pick the best of the best. I have the systems dialed in. We do it at the highest level, and we've been able to scale quality over 350 active agents, which just saves all of our clients time, money, effort, and most important, headache. And this is my offer to you. If you want done for you real estate cold calling videos that don't just sound good, but actually get motivated seller leads, check out No Accent Callers. We pre-train every agent on real estate scripts, seller objections, motivation levels, qualifications. We get live dashboards, recording, and performance updates, all without the headache. And we've helped hundreds of real estate wholesalers, investors get more motivated seller leads, get more contracts, close deals, and make money, all without them needing to babysit their team. If you are serious about scaling your off-market deal machine without putting any time and effort into it, it's literally handed to you on a silver platter, book a call with us today. We'll walk you through how it works. We'll show you what results we get. And if you think it's a good fit, awesome. If you tell me this absolutely sucks, just tell us it absolutely sucks. It's not a big deal.